Greetings and welcome back to room 303 in our chats with Emily, as we are calling our readings through the poetry of Emily Dickinson. We are using the numbering system from the Johnson edition, and we turn now to poem 353, A Happy Lip Breaks Sudden. Can I just point out that anyone can say that a smile breaks sudden? It will be for Emily, as of course genius poets always like to do, to come up with a phraseology that will make us think differently about something so obvious. You remember what we have said already about Shelley's defense of poetry, and how he said that what great poets do is they make the normal or the obvious somehow seem new again, which is why we've always said the new is the new. The N-E-W is the K-N-E-W. Emily is now going to talk a little bit about the face that we wear. What is it that T.S. Eliot says in Prufrock? Each day we prepare a face to meet the faces that we meet. That notion of sometimes the smile is in fact a mask, and we're going to hear more about this. It is of course tragic for us that we don't have more images of Emily Dickinson, and the one picture that we have of Emily Dickinson, it's not really clear what kind of smile she actually had. It would be fun for us to obviously be able to, have more images of her to tell us, to give us more information about that. Now, this poem has a very confusing publishing history. I'm not going to get into all of it, but when it was published in 1935, it only published the last 4 lines in a publication called Up. And then the other part of this poem is poem number 514, and we'll obviously talk more about that here in a bit. Now, our assumptions are that you've been following our stuff at LearnStrong.net. Down that left-hand side, Chats with Emily, our playlist. I'm hopeful that you've worked through our set of introductory comments, where we, of course, talked about in room 303 our big 5. What does this poem say about epistemology, what you can know, ontology, who you are, psychology, the study of the individual mind, sociology, the study of the group or collective mind, and then finally it's that last one, theodicy, the question of pain and suffering, and why must we have it? And many have read this poem as another theodictic response. In other words, when bad things happen, do you let others around you know this, or do you rather just keep smiling, just keep smiling? We also are hopeful that you've read the previous 352 poems. We just finished with 352, perhaps I asked too large. And if you have been doing this with us, and I know a good number of you have, it's kind of fun to be able to place this poem in the context of the preceding 352 poems to see, oh yeah, Emily has played this comparison game before. In fact, she does it regularly, the comparison of really 2 kinds of smiles. We might call them authentic and forced, or however you wish to say it. Now, in some ways, the word smile is an important part of Emily's work. In 45 separate poems, she'll mention something about smiling, so it'll be fascinating. Here it will not be a smile at first, but a happy lip. She'll say it this way. A happy lip breaks sudden. It doesn't state you how it contemplated smiling, just consummated. Now, but this one wears its merriment so patient, like a pain, fresh gilded, to elude the eyes, unqualified to scan. Now, we'll begin with this word, happy. She uses this word in 22 of her poems. It is significantly important that she will call it a happy lip, and then she'll use the word breaks and then the word sudden. In other words, there are such things as unpremeditated smiles. In other words, something happens, your pal says something, and dude, you just start smiling. You can't explain why. You just know that whatever was said was enough for you to make you smile. It doesn't state, that is to say, the smile doesn't state how it contemplated. In other words, there's a certain kind of smile, you don't have to think about it. It just happens. Certainly those of us that enjoy Emily's work will point out that regularly we're reading a line and we just start smiling and we don't really know why. It's just, we don't have to state how it was contemplated or began. And then she uses the dash, and then she uses the word smiling, and then she uses the dash to set the word off. Smiling, just consummated. Now, in other words, immediate. In other words, there's a kind of smile that is so natural. And of course, you immediately can think of one of your pals that does this, and you can see them in your mind's eye right now, smiling because It's just the thing they do. They don't have to explain why they're smiling. And in fact, you probably have somebody in your life that you stopped asking, why are you smiling, long ago, because they smile so much. Of course, this kind of smiling will take us back to Robert Browning's My Last Duchess, when, of course, that Duke is trying to explain his previous wife's smiling. She smiled at everything. And of course, that's the kind of smiling we're referencing here. The fulcrum word in this poem is but. But. This one, and notice the immediacy of the word this. This one wears its merriment so patient, like a pane, fresh, gilded. Now, we'll get to this word, you'll remember this gilded word from 287. We'll get to it again in 635 and 700, poem 700. Fresh, gilded, dash, to elude the eyes, unqualified, to scan. Dash, as the poem ends. Well, what's going on here? Well, I think she is at 2a. I think she's saying that sometimes we must hide our pain, gild our pain and our suffering with a smile. It proves or gains us nothing to walk around with a frown. In other words, what is Emily trying to suggest? You can't always just assume that the smile that I have is a natural, unpremeditated smile. I may be working very hard to tell you something through my smiling that actually you don't completely understand at all. At 2b, I love her word choices here of contemplated and consummated. I also love this key word, the word but, at line 5. At 3a, well, we predicted we would go there, and we'll come back to it at 514. The second, what Franklin calls the second part of this poem. Her smile was shaped like other smiles. The dimples ran along, and still it hurt you, as some bird did hoist herself to sing. Then recollect a ball she got, and hold upon the twig convulsive, while the music broke like beads among the bog. And we mentioned Prufrock. We mentioned, of course, the smiling of Browning's My Last Duchess. And you can think about, what is the text for you where smiling is so important? Finally, at 3b, obviously to own a poem like this, we can ask, we've all probably engaged in both kinds of smiles. When was the last time you had the first kind of smile, the happy lip, the unpremeditated, the without any kind of contemplation? And then, when was the time that you had to elude eyes with a smile? I hope Emily's challenging you. Thank you.